This problem is from the P3 math class homework, and this was one of the problems that several students solved in different ways using different methods and strategies. And I wanted to go over, this is actually Lucho's paper, and we call this the Lucho method because he was very efficient in his bar model and the way he solved the problem. So I wanted to use this as an example. Sometimes we try to make things a little more complicated, especially as parents. We try to use some algebra when your child actually can figure out the problem in some different ways that are a little bit easier. So I'm going to walk over his example. So the problem says Clayton wants to be a musician. After school one afternoon, he spends half his time practicing his drums and 3/4 of the remaining time on homework and dinner. He spends the remaining 3/4 of an hour talking with and texting his friends. How long did he practice the drums? So this problem has multiple parts. So what Clayton does is he spends time practicing his drums, homework, dinner, and talking and texting his friends. So there's several things going on. So we start off with a simple bar, which is this entire section here, this whole bar, and he's got half of the time practicing drums. And he wrote 1/2 times. He didn't finish that off. He's just working through the problem. So half of it is drums, and then 3/4 of the remaining time. So this whole section right here is actually your remaining time. So 3/4 of that remaining time, he took that other half and he split it into fourths, and he says 3 of them, 3 of those 4, are spent on homework and dinner. And you can see up above here, he's got homework and dinner. He spends the remaining 3/4 of an hour. So there's things going on. Remember, we've got half the time with drums, 3/4 of the remaining time, this section here on homework and dinner, and the remaining 3/4 of an hour, which Lucho has changed to 45 minutes. If these are all equally 1/4 of the time, and this is 45 minutes, then we know, as Lucho put here, this is 180 minutes, or 45 times 4. So 45 times 4 would be the other half of the time, which means if half the time is here, 180 minutes, then half of this time, the other half of the time is 180 minutes. So if what Lucho did was he took the 180 minutes and he divided it by 60 to find out how many hours it was, and he's got 3 hours nicely labeled over here. Could he have written the answer as 180 minutes? Yes, because it doesn't say in hours and minutes. It just says how long did he practice the drums. So he actually simplified his 180 minutes to 3 hours, which is really what you want to do when you're working with fractions, is put them in simplest forms whenever possible. So that's just one strategy. Obviously, you can solve this problem just using a numerical strategy, but the bar model is helpful to really visualize what's going on in the problem, and also it helps you to check your work when you're finished.